restrictions imposed during the pandemic in maternity units. Since 2021, hospitals have allowed one person to be present with expectant mothers during the birth. However, a ban placed on all other visitors, including siblings, has yet to be lifted. Stefan says he's disappointed his son missed out visiting his two brothers in hospital.
My wife had a private room. He was never allowed into the private room. Like, it was our own room. You know, it was kind of the back end of the hospital, so we weren't really bumping into anyone. He could have wore a mask and been up there and held the baby in the room, and there was none of that.
And finally, for now, in Britain, it's been confirmed Prince Harry will attend his father King Charles's coronation next month. He'll do so without his wife Meghan, though, and the couple's children, who will remain in California. There had been speculation about whether they would attend. That's your news. More at 8.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Swap Irish rain for Italian sunshine with Ryanair's low-fare flights to Pisa, Naples or Rome.
Very windy with scattered showers for the rest of today. Lows tonight of 0 to 4 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition available now.
This is News Talk.
Now, welcome along. We have another Champions League evening in store. Frank Lampard's Chelsea at the Bernabeu this evening. Daniel McDonnell will be along for the football show. Wednesday night rugby, Rory O'Connor, Gordon Darcy with us after 8 o'clock. And then Shane Carthy of New York, also Dublin in his time, All-Ireland winner, but very much of New York these days. Fresh from their first ever win in the championship. So he will give us the lowdown on a piece of history over the weekend. He's on the way at 7:30. 53106 is the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Michael McCarthy here in studio. Hello.
How are you, Joe?
I'm very well. And Richie McCormack, come on in. Hello to you.
Lads, it's been a billion years. How are you?
On Tom done duty last night, of course.
Yeah, all week, Joe. So it's late nights. Yeah. Doubling up tomorrow as well, because I'm sitting in your ass groove tomorrow night. So it's full 5 hours of McCormack on air tomorrow.
Hardest working man in show business. And on sports bulletins, I hope, as well, between shows.
Sure, why not? Yeah, I might as well keep me toe in.
Richie FM tomorrow. So
it's what the people want, Joe. It's what the people want.
If you like Richie, it's a great night's programming. If you don't like Richie,
if you're a normal person,
it's
then
a lot of Richie. Have you decided the playlist for this evening?
I'm literally scribbling down stuff here as we speak.
Can we get a few off the ball requests in there? I would like Free From Desire to kick off the show naturally.
Gala.
Followed by Tonight's Going to Be a Good Night.
Oh, yeah.
All the classics.
The Rose of Moon Coin.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one.
Give us something I'll have heard of, by the way. Give me a little something of what's on the menu this evening. What might I get when I'm in the car home?
What will you get in the car home? I've got some REM in there for you, and some My Bloody Valentine.
Okay.
They're kind of top line stuff.
I would take that.
What's the REM song?
I'm not telling you, Mick. Jesus, why would I do that at this hour? Come on now. It's a full 3 hours to go before you hear it.
Because I'll be listening for 2 hours waiting for my favourite REM song then, you know? Like
you'll be waiting. I'll give you a spoiler. You'll be waiting about 45 minutes thereabouts.
Mick,
you're in the right decade, Mick.
Mick wants night swimming. I'd second that. I'll take that.
Yeah. You're in the right decade.
Deserves a quiet night, Richie.
What's the one where he talks about counting eyelashes while she sleeps?
At My Most Beautiful.
Yes, I would love that, please.
Good response.
That's a beautiful bit of poetry.
It's a gorgeous track, though.
Yeah, it really is. So anyhow, let's push on. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Do get in touch. Anything taking your fancy this evening? Didn't even think what to talk to you about at the top of the show.
I suppose just the Shane Carthy thing was what I was sort of thinking about. I just kind of find it. There's been just something gnawing at me all week about that, like, only in GA and only in this particular circumstances would we ever be talking about a giant killing of New York over Leitrim. I just kind of can't get away from it, really. You know, it sort of seems sort of so strange. But I do actually kind of think about it as well. Like, it is obviously a brilliant story because the first time you do it, but again, it has been coming, and it'll be interesting to see almost where we go from here with, like, well organised, well funded exile teams like New York and London, because I would imagine that New York might have more players at the moment available to them than Leitrim do. Do you know? Like, I don't know the numbers, and we'll check it out and find out. But it's certainly trending that way. And if you think about like the way the club scene over there is organised in America, and the fact that like Shane lives in Boston, you know, and comes down, so there's no like mad, like you don't have to be in New York as such. Although obviously not many people can do that, the commute or whatever. But like, it is kind of interesting that this, you know, if this becomes even more well organised, becomes more like natives isn't, I don't know if that's necessarily the right word, but American born players, like you know, we had I think the winning penalty was from an American born player, becomes more of a thing. You know, it just becomes more of a imprint on the championship every year, which I think would be great, you know, like, as opposed to this sort of like championship kicks off in New York and sure, like, you might give it a good go, and you know, they're only over there for the kind of work and the beer anyway, and they play a bit of football on the side. If that culture changes, as it seems to be doing over the course of time, I just think it adds a lovely extra element to the show, to the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. Text in to 53106. Frank Lampard, the Chelsea manager. I knew he was, but somehow it all still seems unbelievable. What Todd Bowley has given us in terms of content cannot be measured. I mean, he's putting our kids through college. Did you see Lampard reacting to the rumour that James Corden told Todd Bowley to appoint him? It was a very stilted response. I would have said it could have been a moment of levity as opposed to you know.
He was really angry.
Todd Bowley's a smart man, so I'd say he consulted more than, you know, that particular person that you're talking about.
Yeah, but I can't say it's not true.
It was weird.
Yeah, interesting headline. Yeah, that was very, very strange.
That's where Chelsea are, though. That's in any way plausible. That even for a second, that's a plausible rumour to be put out there. That you have to think about it and go, could he have done actually? Yeah. Do you know what? It's not funny on the road. That's where they are at the moment, and that's not a good thing. And that'll take a lot of washing away. And
the Tyson zone, as Bill Simmons would call it, where you get to that stage where you would believe anything that you hear. You would hear something that sounds so outlandish, but for a second you go, hold on a second, is that true? That was like after the mid-90s sort of time of Mike Tyson, but I think it's a really good way of putting it, because that is exactly where we are with Chelsea at the moment.
There were more James Corden is obnoxious to work with things going a couple of days ago, this time from League of Their Own. Person. The diva.
You love that sort of stuff, don't you?
Oh yeah,
just absolutely. And do you read it and think, like, do you think to yourself, like, I know I can be a bit, like, you know, gruff with the lads sometimes, but do you know what? I'm too nice.
I think I should really start acting out if you can get away with this behaviour.
If you can get away with it, yeah.
Yeah. Look, realistically, New York's involvement is unsustainable. The cost to the climate is ridiculous, says Keenan Sligo.
Yeah, fair point.
I saw that Wrexham owner, actor
Rob McElhenney, Ryan Reynolds
chartered he was back in New York a few hours after the game.
Yeah.
I mean, sports carbon footprint. God, we should do a piece on it.
Sure.
Like,
did you see?
But like, genuinely, sport is just completely obnoxious in terms of how it behaves when it comes to sustainability. I know, like, I take the point that it might not be the biggest offender, and there are other issues at play. But still, I mean, there was even a report the other week which came out and showed that, like, the Premier League clubs are taking flights here, there, and everywhere, like 20-minute flights all over the place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think honestly, like, the idea that, like, of New York having one GA team that might have to come to Ireland once a year and another team go over there once a year versus what we're talking about.
That's
like,
true. I wouldn't think they're chartering that flight either.
No, and you know, did you see there was a thing I saw on Twitter? It might not be verified, but there was it said that 3/4 of all private jets in America were in Augusta or nearby airports last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know,
I believe that.
Yeah. 3/4 is a lot now, in fairness, but at the same time, like, of all
the golfers,
private jets going to Augusta, like, you know, because that's, you know, one of these kind of events that, you know, think about carbon footprint on that. You know, we talked about Qatar a lot at the time, where they talked about their carbon neutral World Cup, but didn't include flights leaving the country. And there was a load of things that they didn't include kind of in a hilarious manner, but one of them was like they accounted for flights coming in, didn't account for all the flights coming into neighbouring countries, of which were the majority. But even the ones that went directly into Qatar, they didn't count the flight that then left straight away after.
Well, I think they only said it's from the first whistle. It's like it's carbon neutral from...
Yeah. Oh yeah, none of the building or anything. Yeah.
We should start the news round. It is brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition is available now. And Richie, the Euro 2028 has taken a surprising twist, perhaps.
Yeah, Casement Park has been preferred to Croke Park in the joint bid for Euro 2028. The Belfast GAA Stadium is among the 10 venues shortlisted to host matches, despite concerns that its planned redevelopment won't be completed in time. Sports Minister Thomas Byrne says Dublin was deemed too small to be a 2-venue host city, so there is only one. Dublin's Aviva Stadium has made the shortlist, as has Everton's new Bramley Moore Dockholm, Hampden Park in Glasgow, Cardiff's Principality Stadium and Wembley. Also on the list are the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Villa Park, the Etihad and St James's Park. The joint Irish and UK bid faces competition from Turkey, with UEFA to make a final decision in December. The UK government are extremely confident, apparently, according to Minister Byrne, the casement will be completed on time.
2028. How long has it been not completed for?
I think they need to have it in the works by next year. Like the spades have to be in the ground, diggers have to be on site by next year, otherwise it ain't going to happen. Like, I would have said that there's more chance of my back garden hosting games than Casement, even at this remove. But there's something about Minister Byrne's statements today that makes me suggest that over and above the Northern Ireland Executive, this will be a priority out of nowhere for the UK government, and that this actually will get done in a way that possibly power sharing wouldn't have enabled. But I think I'd be slightly more confident after hearing what he had to say. The casement will get done, but regardless, it's a bit of a mess.
Out 1 and 2s, like this is a UK bid with an Irish, like, you know, scrap thrown to it, like, you know, the one city rule except for London. You know, it's like, come on, this is, I don't know what we're part of this for, really. You know, we would have had more games, I would say, at Euro 2020 if COVID didn't happen than we would have at this tournament.
Any idea how many we're going to get?
Well, no, we would have had 4 at Euro 2020. I can't imagine we'd have that many more.
It'll be tops. I'd say to be tops.
I'm talking about
4,
Dublin
maybe.
now. Obviously, I'm not including Belfast in this.
Will they throw us a quarter final at least?
I'd say we get 3 group games and a last 16.
Yeah, same as Euro 2020.
Possibly, I'd say possibly a quarter final. But then again, they'll probably head for the larger stadia by the time they get to quarter final time, and the PV is only 50,000. So you're looking at your 70s are, I think Cardiff probably is short of that just a little bit now, but certainly Wembley and London.
I'd say quarter this without Croke Park. I really don't. I don't think for what you get out of it, for our name to be on that tournament and us hosting basically nothing of consequence, I actually think is a bit of a joke, really.
And I think only 2.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like it's a UK. It basically is one of those ones where it's like, it's going to be the UK Euros. You know, and it'll be everyone will have to be forcing themselves to say "and Ireland," and then people will be getting annoyed when people don't include Ireland, and we're not going to be part of it. We're just going to have a few games here and there, like, you know. There should at least be 2 venues in the Republic.
And there's no chance that we'll even be there qualifying for it as well. I think there's only 2 of the host nations are actually going to be able to qualify automatically. Quite how that's determined, I'm not sure. So there could be Euros that we're hosting that we're not even qualified for.
Do they think Croker is too big to set out group games?
No, well, I think they're probably just sticking by this rule of trying to please everybody, because Liverpool will have 2 new stadiums, or well, certainly the new Everton stadium, and everybody will just be wanting a part. You know, obviously there's 2 big stadiums in Manchester, there's 3 big stadiums in Glasgow. So I would imagine that's where they kind of came up with this. You know, that they have to limit it to save for.
It's definitely gone for the more modern ones as well, though. If you look at it, like the Etihad's more modern than Old Trafford. Old Trafford is according to anybody who goes to it, just not up for that kind of purpose now. Similarly, as much redevelopment has been done around Anfield, it's not going to be the new toy on Merseyside. Similarly, Croker would need to have to be seated on the hillside, and you're into a situation by 2028 whereby a lot of it is 30 odd years old.
It's funny you say that, Richie, because Rory O'Connor and I were just talking outside of rugby, and we were just making that point that Croker is starting to feel old.
Yeah, it's been made, the point has been made a few times in the last couple of years, actually, that it needs some upgrades. Like, we are just at that point now where it was a state-of-the-art stadium that has been around for a long time now. You know, I think it was completed in, was it 02? I think something like that. Maybe
a lot of the work done in the 90s, really.
Yeah, oh no, that's it. Like the Cusick stand's been built since the mid 90s, 95 maybe, and I think it finally opened. The Hogan stand opened in 02 maybe. I'm almost sure. So like that is, you know, you're over 20 years at this stage. Like, you know, it doesn't need a full rebuild. It just needs a few refurbishments.
It needs touches done. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have teams ahead of Champions League this evening, Bernabeu.
Pardon me. Yeah, that I do. Frank Lampard's attempting to steer Chelsea in the direction of the Champions League semi-finals tonight. They're away to the holders Real Madrid for the first leg of their quarter-final tie. Bringing you through the Real team, and a strong one it is as well. Thibaut Courtois is in goal. It's a back four from right to left of Dani Carvajal, Eder Militao, David Alaba and Eduardo Camavinga. In midfield then we have Luka Modric, Toni Kroos and Federico Valverde. It's a front three of Rodrigo, Karim Benzema and Vinicius Jr. Chelsea and indeed Lampard revert to a back three. Kepa Arrizabalaga is in goal. Then it's the trio of Wesley Fofana, Thiago Silva back in the side for the first time since February, and Kalidou Koulibaly. Reece James and Ben Chilwell are the wing backs. In midfield, it's a trio of N'Golo Kante, Enzo Fernandez and Mateo Kovacic, while João Felix and Raheem Sterling are their front two. Tonight's other first leg is an all-Italian affair with Serie A leaders Napoli away to AC Milan. Both of those games kick off at 8. One other Champions League line as well tonight, lads. It's reported that Sadio Mane punched Bayern Munich teammate Leroy Sané in the mouth after last night's defeat to Manchester City. Bayern lost the first leg of their quarter-final 3-0 with Mane a second-half substitute. Mane is believed to have been unhappy with how he was spoken to by Sané towards the end of last night's game, taking the issue into the dressing room and splitting the German's lip.
Interesting.
It's a good Chelsea team on paper.
Okay, but Frank Lampard puts out, changes them from a back three to a back four at the weekend, right? It's like, oh, that's, this is what I'm going with. And then a few days later goes with, like, not just even a back three, but like 3 big centre halves. Like, it's like there's no rhyme or reason to... I don't know.
Unless he had this team in mind and Wolves was completely inconsequential.
Well, why would you not in some way, like, he had one game to get his imprint on the team before Real Madrid.
Yeah.
This is what Potter did all through his reign. Like, it was back four, back three, depending on the circumstances. And that back three, like, I'm open to correction here, and the 90 minutes will probably prove me wrong. What do I know?
It looks slow.
That back three is asking for trouble against that Real Madrid front three. Like, it really, really is. So it's only a question of how hard Enzo Fernandez and N'Golo Kante can work in midfield to negate the kind of service that Modric and Valverde and Kroos can provide, because that Chelsea back three it could be in dire trouble by the end of the night.
Do you like Sterling and João Felix together as a front two?
I've never seen them play together.
No, but in theory, just that type of, like, it's
mobile.
Does it even have a false nine? It just feels like it's playing with nobody through the centre at all.
I think the reality is that they won't have much of the ball, and so Reece James, Ben Chilwell will get forward, and hopefully Felix and Sterling make runs in behind. And
it's a good midfield, I would say.
Kovacic, Fernandez, Kante will do a job in there. You'd still make Madrid overwhelming favourites, of course. Last night, I properly watched Man City's game against Bayern this morning. Man, City look good.
Yeah.
Like, Bayern were very good, and City were just a different level. And I much prefer John Stones stepping into midfield from centre back as opposed to right back. There's times where that coming in from right back, and as much as I like Zinchenko doing it, it's a bit too clever for its own good. Whereas there's an ease with which he can step into midfield from centre back, and Diaz still can take care of Gnabry. Because generally most teams don't play 2 strikers anymore. So it's still someone's being marked. You haven't vacated an entire flank. And it's so easy for Stones to step back into defence. I thought, that's a much better solution as opposed to the right back or the left back coming in. But that's not the full story.
And like, I mean,
they were so good across the board.
Yeah. But look, how good is Jack Grealish playing at the moment? Like,
Bloody good.
Like, I was, I just have to go, like, how much of it is to do with the fact that they've stopped putting so much emphasis on the left back position and just sort of just filling it now and letting Jack Grealish do his job, basically. At first time, whatever about, like, is he a better player under Pep, and Arthur will argue that, like, I'm sure he is, but he wasn't playing better. But now it's like there is an element of let Jack Grealish be Jack Grealish.
Jonathan Wilson
that is 100% working now. It's brilliant.
Yeah, John Wilson made an interesting observation as well, which hadn't occurred to me on AM this morning. He was saying that, somebody like Cancelo would often underlap.
Exactly,
and Grealish, you'd think of him for Villa, you'd think of him at his best, cutting inside. Now he's got left back who, if he's in support, is overlapping, and so Grealish can cut inside as he wants, and he feels a lot more comfortable doing that as opposed to, there's Cancelo's space, I better not crowd that.
No, that's 100% what I meant.
Sorry.
Because there was a meme, I think, 6 months ago saying that, like, Man City paid 100 million to Jack Grealish so he could pass it inside to the left back. You know, like that was what he was doing constantly. Like Cancelo was in his way in many ways, you know. So now that that's not such a point of emphasis for City anymore, we can see what Grealish can actually do.
Listening in now, you are right to call out the carbon footprint of sporting events and people taking private flights, etc. But without knowing if the companies or folks involved have been trying to offset their carbon footprint and if they were credible, etc., is valid, says Kevin O'Donovan on Twitter. That is true, Kevin. This wasn't an in-depth piece. It was just more of a riff and a point raised. So we might do a more in-depth piece. There was a story last year where it turned out a bunch of the companies that you would pay to offset your carbon footprint weren't doing a very good job, which I have to say did not shock me.
No.
It really didn't.
Absolutely not.
Because I know Rory McIlroy gives about 100 grand a year to offset his carbon footprint, for example.
Right.
So I'm sure that's given with great intention. I'm not speaking about McIlroy in this case. I don't know which company he pays, but there was certainly an expose of the companies. Oh yeah, no, we're planting loads of trees for you.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Fair enough. But like, you know, the offsetting of the carbon footprint is in some ways kind of a sort of a financial like sort of solution, isn't it? In some ways, like it's like, oh, if we've got money, we'll do that. We'll plant trees. See, I'm sure. Look, the money's gone now, and hope for the best. As whereas like there needs to be a culture change. You know what I mean? It's like in some ways it's easy to say like, oh, we're offsetting the carbon footprint, so we can do what we want. Right? Let's have South African teams join a European Rugby League. You know, it's like surely we could just agree that that's not a good idea for the environmentally, you know.
Are you offsetting the fans' travel as well as another consideration? Colin says, hi lads, I was listening to the Masters Golf Weekly podcast, read the microdissectomy. I have had 2 done. What's happened here is young Will Zalatoris has injured his back, out for the season, has to have a microdissectomy. Tiger's had 4 of these things. It's very bad news for a star of the game to have one so young. But Colin says, I've had 2 done. He puts in brackets himself, I'm Tiger-esque. Tennis caused the first one. Lifting my kids, the second. Oh my God, yeah, be careful how you lift your kids, everyone. But recovery was very good. And he says the issue is more nerve pain than back pain. Your nerves have memory, so the pain can exist for a period of time, even when there is none, just by dint of memory. Zalatoris will be back fully fit, he says. Love the show, says Colin. I'm just reading that out for the Golf Weekly fans.
Where is it in your back?
Oh, it can be anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Any of the vertebrae. Tiger had 4 before the fusion.
Lovely.
This guy's on 2 of them, Colin. Gotta squat down when you're lifting those kids, Colin. Straight back. Work the glutes.
Or just don't lift the kids.
Let them cry.
Well, I don't know if that's a great option, Mick.
Depends what age they are.
There's GA this evening. I have images now of Colin's 15-year-old running at him. Dad! So there's GA this evening.
Yeah, tonight's, well, it kind of is. Tonight's Munster Under-20 Hurling Championship meeting of Waterford and Clare has been postponed. The inclement weather in Dungarvan has forced the game to be rearranged for Friday night. Fairfield has had a spate of those so far this month. The Air Grade Connacht Under-20 football semi-final clash of Sligo and Mayo was moved from Hastings McCarthy Park to the Connacht GA Centre of Excellence in Beacon. There was a 7 p.m. throw-in there, and Mayo currently lead by 1-4 to 6 points. Galway await in next week's provincial final. Newry hosts the meeting of Down and Monaghan in the semis of the Air Grid Ulster Under-20 Football Championship tonight. Throw-in at Port Kessler is in just over 5 minutes' time.
Agree with Mick. Why are we bothering co-hosting these Euros if this is all we're getting?
Can I answer the question even though he's agreeing with me?
Yeah.
Money?
We need the money. Badly.
What money do we get?
Well, we're going to get the
some
money.
money,
The FA will get money for hosting, and we'll fill the stadium 4 times, and we'll have people in the coming through.
We don't keep the gate receipts though. You mean tourism?
Oh no, I'm sure the FAI will have more, but this will raise money for the FAI, won't it?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know, but yeah, look, I mean, it's an organisation that needs money badly.
There's often a lot of talk about the finances of these situations, and I don't never know quite what the truth is.
Yeah, there is also brings 100 million into the economy stuff that's completely vague nonsense.
Not to mention the legacy, of course.
Oh yes.
Why not use Porky Queeve? It's already been used for Munster against South Africa, the Lee Miller charity match as well, which were both great successes, says James in Cork.
Would Porky Queeve pass UEFA inspection? I don't think so. It's a lot of terracing.
Yeah, it's a lot of terracing, and as far as I know, in terms of dimensions, it doesn't work either. I might be wrong on that front, but there was an issue, I believe. There's certainly an issue, I think, when the rugby was in there, and there might have been with the Lee Miller match as well, but it's not a soccer stadium.
I had the genuine pleasure of being there for the Munster South Africa game. Getting in and out.
No, it's a nightmare.
Oh,
I'll tell you, I feel like I only just made it out of the Bruce Springsteen concert from about 10 years ago there recently. It was,
I mean, go to the
before
toilet.
it was rebuilt, but it's not that much of an easier place to get
Go to
in
the
or out
toilet
of
before
now.
you leave.
Yeah.
Unless, UEFA said, well, we'll build you a bridge.
Across the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? It's a good place for it.
I'll build you a bridge.
The Alexander Cheferin Bridge.
Anonymous texting. I had 2 microdiscectomies also. First one, lifting my son. Second
Welcome
one,
to the microdiscectomy hour on Off the Ball.
The second
So
one,
be careful
dodgy
minding
fall.
your
It
kids.
put an end to my camogie career. May have also been due to my age, though, says the anonymous texting.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah. On the point of Waterford and Clare being called off, Joe, what are we going to do about this weather? I'm sick of it.
What's your child lifting technique?
Are we going to have to keep putting up with this winter in the middle of April?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Freezing going home last night. Anyway, my child lifting technique is, I don't think about it too much. I'd say I would do it correctly though. I've been on manual lifting courses.
You want to start thinking about it by the sounds of this.
Yeah. I don't know. You do get a sore back after a while. I have to say, it's always in the same place.
Lower back.
No, I get lower back issue sometimes, but actually when they're holding the kids, it's always right. You know that left centre of your back, and it's like really, really painful and really like there for, but you know it's going to go away. It can last for a few hours, but it's not one of those ones that's going to cripple you.
The show has become steadily middle-aged, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like there was a time it was very much to preserve
Joe,
people in their 20s.
You started this on Golf Weekly, then you read out the text just for Golf Weekly, then you went back to it, then you started asking me about it, and then you started having to go with the show.
Sorry. No, fair. All
Go with
fair,
yourself.
All fair.
I want to go back to moaning about the weather. That's a young person's pursuit.
Yeah, it's weather warning.
You've lost your train of thought there as well. Look at you.
Do you know what?
Come on,
I
old
couldn't
man,
even
get it
think of something
together.
interesting to say about it. I was thinking, my head was going 90 there, going, say something about the weather. I had nothing.
I thought you were going to go back to Richie. I thought I put
No, I couldn't care less.
I put an
Couldn't care less.
exclamation.
I couldn't care less.
Finally. Don't worry, Joe. I'm scribbling down this James Corden report on you, by the way. So
Just to mention, because this is interesting, potentially World Cup coming into sharp focus, they're thinking about orange cards.
Yeah, I think they're probably beyond thinking at this stage. Orange cards are being considered for introduction in time for the World Cup. World Rugby's head of match officials, Joel Jutka, told Midi Olympique that the initiative being trialled in the forthcoming Rugby Championship could be adopted in time for the tournament. Referees will still brandish yellow and reds, but Jutka says in the event of a 50-50 decision, the TMO will have a 10-minute period to decide if a yellow card decision is in fact worthy of a permanent expulsion from the game. The move will also have the impact of speeding up on-field decisions.
It's a great move. Matt Williams, in fairness to him, has been preaching this for several years. He says it works brilliantly in Super Rugby.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. So it suddenly means any kind of collision, it's a yellow card, off you go, and you guys assess it. And we don't have 5 minutes of referee looking up at screen and never-ending dialogue. And it also means that somebody else can make the decision in a calm, quiet space without people coming up to him, putting him under pressure or her under pressure. So no-brainer, really.
Yeah. Look, I'm just against the 20-minute thing. Like, really, you know what I mean? I just think that there should be a punishment for it. The team should suffer if the game gets ruined. So be it. We'll stamp it out quicker if it's a bigger punishment. But this, take your time, I love.
Yeah, it's good.
You know,
Good.
perfect.
Fellas, we are out of time. Richie, enjoy your Tom Dunn hour.
10 to
Tom done
midnight.
2 hours.
10 to midnight.
Tom on
excuse
2
me.
hours, yeah.
Sorry. Enjoy.
God, Christ of another hour of music to get together. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you very much. Michael, thank you.
Thanks.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's cash machine.
Guaranteed winner of the cash machine this Friday. And it's a very easy amount to remember. 70,000 euro. Text play to 57557. Get your entry in by 3 o'clock on Friday, and then across the Go Loud network of stations. Barry Dunn will make the call. If your phone rings, answer within 5 rings. The exact amount in euro and cents